Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am joined by Stu, also known as SK Putt. Thank you so much for joining me today, Stu.
That's okay. Thanks for having me on. My pleasure. We finally got here. There was sickness, there was
Yes,
grandkids.
we made it happen.
Yeah, we got, well, there's a will, there's a way, hey?
That's right. That's right. And we already have Tim here with us. I know Tim has been super excited for this. Thank you
It's
so much for joining us. All right. And so, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and your book, The Kinslayer, for us?
as Kay said, I'm SK Putt. That is my debut novel, The Kinslayer, released November the 9th last year. It's Viking fantasy. It touches on Norse mythology. I put a bit of a reimagination of it, but definitely I pull apart key what I find key factors in it, and put my spin on it. Hopefully, people like it.
I love it. We've got Ryan here as well. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much. Agreed. Can we talk about that cover for a moment?
Yeah,
Where did that cover come from?
that cover. So that's done. That's illustrated by a fellow Aussie. Her name's Ali Pedersen. She's on Instagram at Ali Pedersen for anyone who wants to check her out. Her illustrations. One of my friends, he got me in touch with her, and she's just been a delight to work with. She's currently doing my novella cover as well. How it came about, I just gave her my word vomit of what I wanted, and she's did an awesome job with it. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. It's a great cover. Well, I think so.
Absolutely. I think it's recognizable, it stands out, and I love the contrast with just the grays and then the beige handle. She did a great
Yeah,
job, and then the red on the back, right? Because it wraps.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Wraps it around.
And is that I don't know if anyone can see this. This is like landscape in the background.
It's like a fjord or what they call it. It's like an ocean that's surrounded by mountains. Definitely has that winter vibe to it. Where the book's located in the fleshlands, it's very cold and all that. Your typical Norse setup.
Gotta have those hardy, Vikings in there, right? Norsemen. And we've got Christopher here with us. Welcome, Chris. Good to see you. So let's start off with what your reading journey has been like. Where did your passion for stories start?
Passion. Oh, probably when I was a kid, I was. Ooh, you right? Oh, that's okay. My passion. Yeah, when I was a little kid, I loved Star Wars, like many kids did. And then that graduated into books down track. Around high school, really got into Harry Potter. And then probably a bit of a hiatus in my 20s. Have a few other things you want to go out and party and whatnot. And reading's not really on the radar, but probably recent years, around that 30 mark, when I was turning 30, got into Robin Hobb's books. And ever since then, it's, yeah, just keep reading and reading. It's great.
I love it. I love it. And so what are you reading right now? Because you've obviously got your books stacked up behind you there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Vinland Saga, that way I'm pointing. Vinland Saga. Got into the manga. Love that. I just finished Clayton Snyder's Cold West.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like grim dark western. It's sick. I love it. It was so good. Um, Very dark, obviously with being grim dark. But I just finished that up. Maybe early in the week I did.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
I also listen to a lot of audiobooks and currently listening to Michael R. Miller's Ascendant.
Okay.
Uh, and he has a really good take on dragons. I haven't really heard that before, or watched or listened to that before. It's
I
great telling.
Yeah, I think is that oh, it's a different one I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of the cover, trying to visualize it. But I know uh, that there's been quite a few books I believe he's written, and there's is it? I'm wondering if it's the same author that I'm thinking of. They're coming out with one that's like a bug species.
Ooh, nah, can't help you there. Sorry.
No, okay. If someone knows what I'm talking about in the chat, please, please help me.
Okay, come on.
So aside from those reads, from based on yourself, because we're going to talk about one of the well, two I can see at the top there. But apart from those, what other books have been your favorite reads so far?
Of like all time. Uh,
Sure, yeah,
yeah, okay. Yeah, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Uh,
nice.
that's it's a slow burn, and like anyone that's read Robin Hobb's book, it takes a while, but just the way she writes it, you can just read it forever and ever.
Mm.
Yeah, she's epic. Yeah, that's probably my favorite read of all time. And also, yeah, John Gwynne and his books. I really love Malice, as we sort of touched on before. Yeah, he debut novel for an author. I think that's a masterpiece for me. I loved
Mm.
it.
Love to hear it. I know I need to read Malice. I've read the Bloodsworn Saga, and we're gonna talk about that because that was also one of your inspirations for the Kinslayer.
The Shadow of the Gods
Yeah.
that made me want to write. As I sort of touched on the chats and interviews, the way John Gwynne writes in that book or that series, it's so cinematic.
Mm.
Uh, it's like you're playing a video game. It's so yeah, awesome. Probably not enough words, but yeah, awesome.
If it makes you feel any better, so that's how I feel at times when I'm trying to, tell people why I like a book. I'm like, "It's good. Just
Yeah,
book good."
just read it. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I completely agree. The action in it, so well done, but then you
Mhm.
also get the atmosphere of it and the tone in the
Yeah.
Bloodsworn Saga, so well done as well,
Yeah, it has
and
like really gritty. Oh, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
no, go for it.
Has really gritty moments, but also really nice moments where orcas that just sitting around with her husband and I like how John Gwynn takes those moments to really take his time and he can sort of it's not all action and all that going on.
Yeah, you get those small moments, and he makes them worthwhile. He doesn't really
It's
waste his
all worthwhile.
words.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you, Chris and, Tim here. Yes, it was Michael Fletcher I was thinking of. So there is an upcoming book with, bug people coming from, Michael Fletcher there. If anyone is interested, it looks really, really neat. And we have SA here. Welcome. Be careful, keep the volume in, headbutt or something, but thank you for for taking the time to stop in and chat with us. Charlie
Thanks.
as well, and Derek. Thank you
Hey,
so much,
Charlie.
everyone.
Hey,
So,
Derek.
what was it? Because you said that the Bloodsworn Saga was really what inspired you to start writing. What was it? I know you said the action was so cinematic for you, but what specifically did you go, no, I need to write my own?
Uh, yeah, obviously anything that inspires you, you have that automatic reaction of you just want to copy that as well. At the same time, no, you got to make your own spin on it. For me, so by reading that, that got me into a rabbit hole of Norse mythology. So did heaps of research on that, and it really, I guess, try to make my own world um, similar to Norse mythology. You got John Quinn's what he's doing over there. So I'm pulling parts of that and just creating my own universe with similar themes and all that. So that's how that came about.
So were there other inspirations that you took from to help you build your world and your characters?
Um, so I'm a massive dog person. So
Okay.
yeah, animal companions that quickly became a forefront or a theme up for my book. So yeah, that's where the companions or animal companions come from. Is yeah, I'm a massive animal person. Yeah, I love my dog. So yeah,
I love it, I love it. I love a good, animal companion trope. When
mm.
you can get them just right, they're so good.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I attempted that.
I'm excited to find out. You and I were talking earlier because I had, read the, opening prologue and first chapter just to kinda get a feel of what we were in for, and you didn't hold back. You went pretty brutal and pretty dark very quickly.
Yeah, actually, sorry, another author, Anna Smith Spark.
Yes.
Um,
I'm reading her right now, the
yeah,
Empire of the
uh,
Dust trilogy.
yes, yes, yeah. Her way of writing actually inspired me as well. That real, like, just straight to the point, brutal, dark. So a bit of that actually inspired those early chapters for sure. Um, yeah, like a realistic tone to my writing. I felt like that's my style as well. Um, so yeah, I did go pretty dark in those early chapters, and I guess throughout the book as well. But yeah,
Oh, I love to hear it. I just finished The Tower of Living and Dying, so book 2 in that trilogy.
oh, yeah, yeah, she goes to some places that are quite quite
It
dark.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was like, "Okay, book 1's obviously quite dark," and then
Yeah.
book 2, it just keeps going.
Yeah. I'd say
But
in books three, yeah, can get a bit worse.
oh, lovely.
Yeah.
As odd as it sounds, I'm looking forward to it.
It's really good. It's a great trilogy.
It is, it's been turning out to be much more of a psychological, investment and analyzing of the characters than I was anticipating.
Yeah, actually, I've sort of I wouldn't say we're best mates or anything on Instagram, but yeah, she sent me some artwork from herself. So I've got it somewhere on my bookshelf. But yeah, like some art from that trilogy and her latest one, the a woman of the sword. So
Yes.
yeah, she's super cool as well. I like her.
She is really sweet. I watched her, interview, and when I had posted I was reading, she was like, "Oh, yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and, like, reach out," and she's very friendly, very
That's
friendly.
super. Yep.
So I am excited that you kinda have a similar prose style because, like you said, it's to the point, it's direct, but it really adds to that tone. And in terms of where you were researching, was there anything surprising to you when you were trying to make sure that you were getting all this information, right and getting your world set when you were researching? Was it like, "Oh, they did that?" Or, you know, anything that popped up from history?
Yeah. Also, yeah, yeah, a lot of research, a lot of reading historical fiction, although it's clearly fiction, but they do base it off historical events. So there's a author, Peter Gibbons. He does the Blood and Blade saga. Oh, I
Okay.
think that's anyway. He yeah, it obviously it's Vikings and all that. And yeah, he a lot of research went into that, how they fought, how what things they did. Obviously, they weren't just Vikings. That's not a job. That's just a way of life. They were also farmers at home between battles and
Mhm.
fishermen and all those things. So, yeah, a lot of that research went into it. Yeah, then obviously the Norse mythology. uh, I already knew about Odin and Thor, but you get into the nuanced gods, and you're like, oh, I didn't know they did that, or that people worship uh, this way of life. But yeah, it all adds up into what I write, I think.
That's awesome, and so how many books are you planning for the series?
Yeah, the Saga of the Fleshlands. Yeah, that will be a trilogy.
Okay.
Um, I started writing book two late last year, and then I started having all these other ideas like any author has. And so yeah, I sort of got maybe a quarter into that, then I'll sort of pause that, then yeah, start my novella. That's yeah, it's at beta read stage. So
Oh, exciting.
I'm
Congrats.
trying to, yeah, cheers. So I'm trying to throw in a few novellas in between book two, I think.
So the novella fits in between books 1 and 2, sorry?
Oh, no, no, no. It's a prequel.
Oh,
So
sorry.
yeah, no, no, you're right. But yeah, just gonna put a few novellas in between before I release book two. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Sorry, there was a bit of lag there, so I didn't quite catch the full thing.
All good.
Um, so you've got a trilogy planned. Now you're planning to do novellas. Do you have an idea of how many books you'll have in this world by the time you're done?
Oh, I'm not putting a ceiling on it. Definitely, yeah. I got an arc for the trilogy, but I also have a lot of ideas of yeah novella ideas. So there's characters their background stories I want to get into. Yeah, my novella that's coming up, A Reckless Courage, that delves into there's a character Ava Nickens, her father, and his backstory and a few familiar shield maidens he fought with.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, like characters like that, I wouldn't mind, pursuing more and giving more scope to what the Kinslayer was or is.
Oh, interesting. So you're going to be delving more into lore, into some backstories. And
Mm.
then in terms of your writing process, because this is your debut,
Mhm.
in terms of that, what was it like and what did you learn about yourself as a writer?
Writing's really hard, really hard, and I used to before writing. I just had an Instagram account and I'd do the odd poor review. Um, I should say poor review, but did reviews on books. And yeah, since then, I really don't like reviewing books because I know how hard it is for authors, and you bear a bit of your soul in your books. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, definitely, yes. So, and writing is part of it, yeah. But then at the same time, it's super fun plotting out your book and the ideas, and when you start writing the chapters, like those juices start flowing, and yeah, you really get lost in your own work. It's super fun as well.
So did you find yourself outlining a lot more, just going with the flow of things?
Um, the way I write is I like plot out the whole book, so I know what's
Oh, wow.
happening. Yeah, so I sort of give myself spoilers, but whatever. That's just how I write. I find it's a more efficient way of writing. I did do a bit of research in how to write. As funny as that sounds, and yeah, a few authors actually they do that. And yeah, I'll go back to those plot points and start writing out the chapters, and then including dialogue. Some authors do dialogue right at the last minute, or not
Right.
minute, but at the last stage. But yeah, that's how I write.
And has there been any differences with book 2 and the novella that you found?
Writing, oh, not really. I use that same system. I think that works well for me. Book two, I wrote a few chapters later that I know what's happening, and I've still got other chapters in between just to try out different things. But for me, it still seems having that plotted out way is more beneficial in my brain. I don't know. I guess there's no right or wrong way to
No.
write, but you just find a way for you.
Exactly. I think that's so important, like anything, right? We're all gonna approach like doing videos and writing all of
Mm,
it, we're gonna approach it differently. And so I am really curious how, because you said you were doing research in the mythology, what was
mm.
important to you when you wanted to incorporate the aspects of history, of mythology into your own story and world?
What was important to me to keep it um, respectful. Um, Yeah, so I did approach an author, Get Buzz at the moment. Thildy, she wrote the Hang God trilogy. That book there, that
Yes.
one.
I'm
I can't
probably gonna fail as well with the name, so I'm not gonna help.
Scandinavian, and yeah, but yeah, she helped me a little bit on my book. I reached out to her just how to approach Norse mythology in a respectful way. Obviously, she's all around it. She knows the lore and the myth of it quite well. So she gave me a few pointers how to approach it. So keeping it real. Obviously it's mythology, so it's not exactly real, but yeah, she was really helpful there. Yeah, the Norse mythology, I don't know, it's so big and so encapsulating. Like the more you delve into it, the more you realize like our like Christmas comes from Norse mythology and all about these like Easter and all that comes from those roots. So yeah, she learned that a lot of Western ways like today can't stem from those roots of Nordic culture. So that's a big thing I learned out of it as well.
That's fantastic. And
Mm.
I know what you mean. I remember I had done, a period where I had studied different forms of religion, and delving into pagan and Wiccan religions, I learned the same thing. I was like, "Oh, yeah, a lot of these holidays kind of coincide, don't they?"
Like,
Very
like the,
similar.
yeah, like the days of the week, like
Yep.
Monday Odin. Oh no, Wednesday's Odin, and Tuesday's Tears Day, and Thursday's Thor's Day, and Friday's Frida Day. Yeah, so or Friday. So yeah, it all stems from there. Mm,
It
interesting. Oh, I find it
it
interesting. I'm a super nerd now. With well,
Gonna have to put that in the profile or about you at the back of the page, at the back of the
yeah,
book now.
absolutely.
It is fascinating though, because the more you learn, I find the more I learn about those kind of things, the more I want to know, right? And then seeing it in an adaptation of some form through a story in a book or a movie or a show is always fascinating too, to see how people visualize what it would have been like, or it might have been like.
Yeah.
Um, So, for those in the chat, if you have a question, by all means, pop them in and we will go over those as well. In the meantime, I want to dig a little bit more into the Kinslayer as well, as spoiler free as we can. Let's dive into your book.
Try my best.
So, this is going to be so hard, and I apologize. But what role did the gods play in your story?
What role? A, a big role.
A big role.
Roles. So, uh, I'd put it without spoilers. I'd
Can I show
say,
the illustrations while
yeah,
you have time?
absolutely, go for it.
So we got a
Yeah.
few
So,
here. Oh,
ooh, yeah. So that's Vanga. He is the crow god from Krakow. So yeah, like there's a I guess they play, yeah, as I said, a big role. People worship, they die for these gods. They believe their fates are woven by these gods. Yeah, so that's Njorborn the bear and Yorman the snake. Um, yeah, Yorman like that's based off Jormungandr, Norse mythology. Yeah, that's Fenrir, the wolf goddess. Um, so yeah, she's based off Fenrir, the wolf in Norse mythology. Um, but I flip them around to be uh, more women focused because I had a daughter I still have a daughter now, but my daughter, when I came up with these ideas, I wanted it a more of a feminine feel to the book as well. So it wasn't just stereotypical blood and guts book. So yeah, the gods are massive. I'd say my book.
I love to hear. I know it's a tricky one, but I wanted to show off the illustrations. I wanted to hear it from you
It
directly.
helped me.
And so, where did the idea of a champion come from?
Champion. Yeah, so going back to my research with Norse mythology and Viking age, yeah, they do select a lot of champions. So they're duels. So what they call home gang or whole home gang, which just means a duel between Vikings. So a lot of them, how they decide a champion or like battle chiefs and whatnot. But for me, with my book, the champions are selected by the gods. So
Hmm.
I guess I wanted to also differ from this from John Gwynn's The Shadow of the Gods. That a feature of mine would be a champion of the gods, not so much the gods are heavily featured just by themselves. So yeah, that's where that came from.
And can you tell us a little bit about the main character that we follow in chapter 1 and their reaction?
Oh yeah, Reedy. But yeah, he's a berserker. For those who don't know what a berserker is they fight with just a wild rage, a wild bloodlust. They just want to kill. In mythology, that they could be like bear, because bear means berserker. So something is bear like that. They fought with no, sort of like half naked, or then some other they think they fought with like bear skins. So that's where the
Oh.
berserker comes from. So you can believe either of them. But yeah, read that he's based off that. So yeah, he's just a crazy man, I guess you could say.
I love to hear it 'cause it's, I think especially with the tone that you've captured, at least from the introduction I've read, uh, you really do capture that scary and dark and thrilling tone from the berserker themselves,
Mhm.
because battling is just a way of life.
Yeah, it's like it's ingrained in their thoughts. It's a part of who they are. And yeah, it's all about honor and fighting, and who I guess who can kill the most, and who's the greatest Dringo, brackets warrior. Yeah, that's where that all comes from.
Fantastic, and, we're just gonna say, "Hello, Kaiju." Welcome, welcome. If you have a question, pop it in the chat, and we will get to that too. And so let's talk about the fleshlands. This is the world, essentially, or land in the world.
Yeah, it's a group of islands, you guys you could say. I'd definitely base it off Midgard or Middle Earth, as in Norse mythology. Uh, Definitely in book 2 that I expand more on what the fleshlands actually can be or could be. But yeah, the fleshlands, yeah, they have Kraka, there's Snucker, you got Ulfheim, and what's the other one? You got Mythland or Midland, which is has Newborn, the bear god. I should go back. Kraka has I've mentioned Vanga. That's for Kraka. Snowborn is for Midgard. Yorma is for Snucker, and Fenrir is for Ulfheim. There's also another country called Hafugl. Can't even pronounce my own words that I make up. Yeah, they worship a sea eagle goddess, and that will be revealed more so in book 2 as well.
Oh, interesting, and I don't blame you. I struggle so much with fantasy names on a regular basis, and then you give me Norse mythology, and it's even worse.
Yeah, like I started. I need to get back into Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings book. But yeah, even all the names in there, I'm like, how does he keep up with all that?
Yeah. That's a Brandon Sanderson's a mystery we will never, figure out, I
I
think, at this point.
don't think he knows what's going on. He's just spinning us alive.
It
But
could be.
he does. He's an absolute master. What he does.
Oh, it's incredible with how much he can produce and so efficiently, like, he's got a whole system down, or he must.
Yeah, I think I watched it or read it somewhere. He's one of his parents was an accountant, so he has the uh, work ethic of an accountant, but also the artistic ways of a writer. So he combines, and that's how he gets out the amount he
Mm.
does.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
guy doesn't sleep. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. There's no way. And hello, welcome, Hale. Thank you so much. And, yeah, it's incredible. I understand logically, I understand that explanation, but it still does not process, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
he has a family as well. Like, does he see his family? Maybe not. I'm sure he does, but I don't know. How does he write so much? It's crazy.
It is. It is crazy. So it in turn well, let's get back to your writing for a
That's still
minute
yeah.
here. Because I am really curious, when you were developing the world,
Yep.
what was the most important thing to you that you wanted to make it your own and make it unique to you?
What's most important? I guess for the characters to feel real, off when you for the reader when they're reading, for those characters to really feel like they're friends of the reader or they're people they don't want to cheer for as much. That was my whole ambition. Probably gets back to that Anna Smith Spark way of writing, that realistic tone. That's what I was going for with these characters as well in the world, to feel like you're in the fleshlands, you're walking, you're holding an axe. Yeah,
Mm,
that was definitely my aim.
I love it. Yeah, it's hard to do, I would imagine, to be able to capture those moments that make the characters feel like a friend or a buddy to the reader, but then also to make those moments that you want to hit hard really hit.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely parts of books you read and you go, or scenes of books you read, and you go, oh, I'm definitely gonna aim for that. Um, there's I won't get into a spoiler, but there is a similar scene that happens in Malice that I do in the Kinslayer. Um,
Oh,
yeah, two major characters. If people want to tie them together, but I guess it's like a ritual that happens. Yeah, just encapsulating that and making it super real for the reader. That was my aim.
and in terms of developing your characters,
Mhm.
did you have a strategy for that?
Um, I wouldn't say strategy. It was more, I guess, people I like in my head, and you're right, like all the positives about it. Then there's some people that you don't quite like in the world, and you base it off that, or not just people you don't like, but also people that you would imagine would have bad traits. You're right. Qualities, not really qualities, things about them that aren't nice. So that's how I sketched out those characters. Then there's gods and the animal companions, and you try and make them have their own personalities as well, as much as they're not obviously humans, but you give them that scope.
I love it. Yeah, because I find the process of it fascinating because I've had some authors say they actually visualize their character sitting across and they kind of do an interview like, okay, where are you
Oh, okay.
from? What's your
Really,
personality
really
like?
like, okay, I'll keep
Sorry?
that in mind. That's a really interesting take or a way of approaching it. Might use that moving forward.
By all means. Yeah, I find it fascinating because like we were talking about, everyone does it so differently.
Absolutely.
And Kaiju here says, unpopular opinion, but characters are my favorite thing in books, even over plot sometimes. I don't know if that's unpopular, but if it is, I'm right there with you, Kaiju.
Yeah, I'd try and make the characters better than the plot, if that makes sense. I still like you want to make the plot work so it's readable, but also I find character-driven books are the ones that stick out in people's memories. So
Yes.
books that you read 10 years ago, you probably forget what the book's about, but you go, oh, that character, I love that character. So they stick in your thoughts, I think, more so than the actual plot itself.
Yeah, I've found that for myself as a reader, I'm much more character driven than
Mm,
plot. And even like you said, I can look at a book and go, I still love that character. Still
mm.
love that character. Not I might forget the character's name because I am terrible with names, but I love
So
them.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Itra, thank you so much for joining us. If you have a question, by all means, pop them in the chat for Stu here. And we do have a question from Charlie. What was the hardest part of the writing process for you?
Hardest part of the writing process, probably the fifth and sixth drafts you do, and then you start editing. Then you might have to draft again, and yeah. So I'd say editing's pretty hard. Um, it's fun because you can tidy up parts of it, but yeah, it can be a humbling experience as well because you get feedback that you might think it's a little harsh, but you know it's true deep down. So you still got to revisit those parts of the book that you need to touch up. But at the same time, it's also you're gaining experience, you're gaining skills as a writer by doing that. So as long as you embrace that challenge of that part of writing, it's still at the end when you get that book out there.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? It's your baby. You put so much time
Yeah.
and effort into it, and then you're handing it out to someone and saying, "Please give me feedback and be nice." You can.
Well, that's why I don't do bad reviews anymore, or even reviews anymore on books. I find it too heartbreaking to let someone know I don't like that book.
Yeah, it's there's so many different experiences that I've heard from reviewing, even for myself. I've kind of changed my perspectives over time as I've done more and more. But when it comes to reviewing, I think really if you're the one reviewing, then, like you said, it's hard for you to do now that you have a new perspective,
Yeah,
right? Um,
yeah. When you see it through an author's lens, it's really difficult to criticize someone unless they that author or whoever's like asking you for critical feedback. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
No, for sure, and I know for myself, I try and balance because I talk to so many authors, right?
Yep.
So I try to convey what readers might expect from the book, and then share my own personal experience of what may or may not have worked for me, very brief. And usually, if something didn't work, I try and be as positive about it as I can. And it's about being kind and respectful at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah, I think there's two key words there: being kind and yeah, respectful. Absolutely, that's good.
Yeah, and so I wanna ask more about these animal companions.
Go for it.
Can you tell us about one of them? Is it a spoiler if we ask about them?
No, not at all. So one's super special to me. I based it off my Labrador, who passed away a couple of years ago. That's
Oh, I'm so
Mocha.
sorry.
The- that's okay. Um, yeah, the way, yeah. So Mocha is based off my Labrador named Morrison. Uh, and yeah, so yeah, when you read him laying on his back asking for tummy scratches. Yeah, that's what Morrison did, and yeah, he was super kind, but yeah, fiercely loyal. Yeah, so definitely portray that in those elements in Mocha. The other companions, I guess you base it off what traits of animals you like. Even the snake that
Mm.
Reed, yeah, like she's pretty loyal to him, so guess that's all that. Yeah, that loyalty. That's a common theme with those companions.
So how was it for you writing their bonds, right? Because the animal companion, usually there's that bond between the human or person and the animal.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with Robin Hobbs. Um,
Mm.
books with Night Eyes and Fitz. I definitely drew a lot of inspiration from that way of writing, like the bond that those two have. I relay that into what Oxa, or pronounce Uxa, what she has with Mocha. Um, yeah, that bond, like you want to have it real. I guess that those do anything for each other. Yeah.
I love to hear it. It to me, it would be again, it would just be one of those things of how or I should say, it must be so difficult to convey that bond while also giving each their own personalities in their own space.
Yeah, like simple things like writing, like Mocha's by Ux's side, and like there's a scene where she's in a mead hall and she doesn't care that he's a wolf. Like she brings him in, and people give
Right.
her different stares, and she just doesn't care. And like that's how much they care for each other. Like, they're just always with each other. So just think like an example like that. That's how I portray it in my book.
I love it. It all comes back to the small moments.
Yeah, exactly. They're the things that make up a or make a book good. I think it's like small little nuances or nuanced moments, I should say.
Absolutely. And we have a question here. I'm going to try and find it again. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Ithra, how do you keep the edits straight? I'm worried that I'll lose the story in the edits.
Thinking it straight. Um, Maybe just my opinion, but try the story should be so well entrenched in your brain that when you're doing the edits, the edit should be automatically based around the story. That's just me. So
Mm,
probably it sounds like you might need to write more. But that's just me speaking. Because I found editing, I was super aware, always aware of where the story's going, what characters are, what's happening with these characters, where the plot's driving towards. So editing, I didn't find too hard. I'd say earlier that it's hard and it's a challenging process. There's more so fixing up parts that weren't working, but the whole time I knew the story was at forefront of my thoughts. Yeah,
So, really, just embody the story and
yeah,
really having a
really
good.
have it entrenched in your thoughts and in your brain. So it might take like, and don't worry about editing. Like I fell for that trap. Sorry, straight away when I was editing. Don't bother line by line editing when you doing the second draft of your book. Like reread it a few times so that story's well entrenched. Then you can change different plots around it.
Love it. I love to hear it. And Kaiju, you are fantastic. I hope
Oh,
you enjoy it.
much that means a lot. Thank you.
And so, oh no, I just lost my question.
It's okay.
It'll come back. I'm going to come back to it. It'll pop
That's
up.
all right.
In the meantime, though, I'd love to know if you could write in another world, another genre, which book, what kind of genre story would you want to write?
Westerns.
Oh,
That's
really? Is that because of
definitely
Cold West?
Sorry. Oh no. I've been into westerns for a while now.
Oh, okay.
It's, yeah, I've had the fleshlands and my thoughts and writing it, but I've also got tucked away there a western I'm writing plot points about. So that's definitely an aim or a goal within the next few years. Um, yeah, I love it. I actually find it similar to Norse. Like the whole outlaw Vikings. I
Mm,
think they've got similar tropes, similar character styles, um, and just like the landscapes of westerns. I love it. Yeah. Yep.
so, is there a trope in a Western, for example, that you would love to try and tackle that you haven't already?
A trope. Oh,
Or a theme?
that's a good question. Without giving a spoiler away with what I've already got down.
So,
um,
if it's secret, we can lock that down.
you know the game Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I reckon I played the game straight for a whole year or two. So that got me into westerns. So yeah, that I guess that outlaw that's a baddie, but also
Mm,
he does good. Or could be she. That definitely, yeah, that's probably a trope I'll aim toward. You can
very nice.
walk that one away.
So, would you say that's the same thing as, like, a morally gray character?
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you can say that.
that's fantastic. I love a good morally gray character.
It has a better take than what I just said.
The reason I have that in locked and loaded is because I've again, one of my favorite types of
But
characters.
there are a lot of people because I guess like we're all morally grey, aren't we? There's
Mhm.
good and bad in people. We see the world in different shades of light, don't we? Not to get too super serious, but
No,
I
by all
think that
means.
morally grey character really like one that stands out to me is Geralt from The Witcher.
Yes.
Um, he's so neutral, isn't he? But he does bad things, does good things. But are they bad things or are they good things? Like it's for the reader to interpret. Yeah.
Well, and even the peers, like his peers, to interpret, because even his own peers will interpret his actions differently, right?
For
Whereas
sure.
he might view himself doing a kindness, he might get chased out of town, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's tricky, and I think being able to capture that level of humanity in
Mm.
literature is not just important, but it's, um it's its own process, I would
Mm,
imagine.
absolutely.
So, in terms of going back to your world and your story
Mhm.
and the characters, you said you had some that were your favorite, some that you just, had a little bit of a harder time maybe writing. Can you maybe share with us which character is your personal favorite, if you have one, and then which one was maybe a little bit harder or difficult?
My personal favorite, yeah, definitely Mocha.
Mm,
Um, right before I started writing, I 'cause, yeah, when he passed away, I sort of did base the book off my dog Morrison. If I'm
mm,
being absolutely blunt, and I just want to make sure like what sort of world would suit him, and that's where the Norse world, him being a wolf, and yeah, obviously the shadow of the gods, in the back of my thoughts as well. That definitely inspired that whole character. The hardest, maybe there's actually a bird, a raven in it. That's as a point of view. So
ooh,
it it was tricky to write because you want to make it real, but at the same time, it's a bird. So you want to make it, yeah, like in bird talk, if that makes sense.
no,
But
it
at
completely makes sense.
yeah, it's definitely a character, and they have a massive part to play in book two, for sure.
Hmm.
That's it. Not really a spoiler, but yeah.
Interesting. So I know exactly what you're talking about with the raven speak or the
Mm.
bird speak, because we were talking about other Norse mythologies that we had read previously before going live, and one I forgot to mention was Gregory Amato, and
Okay.
he has a
Mm.
novella where there is a raven, and he nailed it, in my opinion, for, like,
Oh,
the
okay.
talking, and
I'll
a little
look into
bit. Sorry?
I've got to look into that book, yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
cool.
It's a novella, I believe, so it's shorter, the one that I read, but, just the way that there's a level with how he does it from the vocalizing, like, the dialogue from the Raven, but also a slight bit of insanity. To
Oh,
them, they're
okay.
totally sane, right? The
Yeah,
Ravens are like, "We have our own way, this is just the way they are,"
yeah,
but it comes across in such a eerie way
yeah.
in how
It's a
he
good
writes it.
theory for a raven. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
if anyone in the chat has any questions as well, pop those in. I believe we'll wrap up shortly here. But yes, Kaiju, Robin Hobb for.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she? Um, good old eyes.
So while we wait for some final questions from the chat, Stu, I'd love
Mhm.
to know what is a book that you are excited to read?
To read. Oh, the third. the Bloodsworn saga, The Fury of the Gods. I
Yes.
saw his son Ed posted on his story the other day. Yeah, I was, yep, cannot wait. Um, and I think that's on a lot of people's radars in 2024 to read. Another book. Oh, probably the next one, Robin Hobb eventually releases. I know I think she's been talking about another book in her other um, author profile, Megan Lindholm. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, whatever she puts out, I'm anticipating for whenever
And
that is.
I love it. And yes, I'm so excited for the next chunk. I've been like waiting for it. We have very little patience. And Kaiju here, do you have any new book plans?
New book plans, yeah. So yeah, currently writing, in a way, sort of editing my novella, A Reckless Courage. It's a prequel to the Kinslayer. It's more so based in the land of Kraka, or it's in the Fleshlands, but in the island Kraka. And yeah, definitely delve into the crow god Vanger and the people that worship him. Yeah, that's
And
the
this is going to be a trilogy, I believe you said, right?
that's gonna be a trilogy. Book two, I'm still working on, so I've got a few projects going on at the same time. Don't know how I write a lot when I've got two kids and a wife, full time job.
That
Yeah.
was going to be my other question. How do you find the time?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I guess I got a good work. I think that sounds a bit. I know I can't swear, can I? Um, yeah, I'm very make sure that I find time to write, even if it's an hour or so a day. Just that routine. I think a lot of authors have
Mm.
that, but also finding a balance. So I make sure that kids are always priority for me. Um, but yeah, once it's their bedtime, I've had dinner with the wife and we've you know discussed for the day. I move on to writing at night.
So you keep your routine and you just work at it.
That's it. Bit of a workaholic.
I mean I kind of get that when you have so many things you want to do in a day, goals you want to accomplish, you find
Mm,
ways to do them.
sure. Yeah, and I've got that writing bug. So um, yeah, I just really enjoy writing stories and especially the plotting out a book. I love that part of writing. It's
Mm.
really creative and it's fun to do. Super fun.
Yeah, and sorry, I was just reading Kaiju's comment here because I've seen this too. It looks so interesting. She says super random, but I saw a post about people who make maps for fantasy books by spilling rice on a big piece of paper and making lines around the spilled rice.
I love that. I'm I'll be struggling. I don't have a map in Kinslayer, and for that very reason, I'm like, how do you even do like a proper map? I know there's like free generator ones out there, and or you get an illustrator to do one for you, but I like that idea because it's random and it's original. I'm going to use it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. And I mean, I've seen maps done in all kinds of formats. I think AR Witham, I can't remember if he did his own, but it's a very like it looks like a person drew it, like a character in the book drew it. It's got like the X marks and, notes and everything. It looks like it's painted with or drawn with an ink brush, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
I'll
With maps, like there's so many look so similar, don't they? Like the same font, the same outline. Yeah, I like that. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll have to ask him how he did it, or maybe he's already said, but it's just so interesting how he managed to achieve that look and how it matched the book perfectly. So I think there's definitely something to be said for authors being able to find ways to do it themselves or be able to communicate to their map maker in a way that really captures the story.
Sure.
So, how about here? Yes. How about here we do a final couple quick round questions? How does that sound?
Do it.
All right. So, some bonus questions, if we will. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Fun fact: I'm a massive Blink 182 fan, as you can tell. I
Nice.
went to their concert 3 weeks ago. Um, yeah, it's the third time I've seen them. But yeah, to see them back again, it was awesome. Probably the best have sounded, I think, live.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so yeah, that's a little fun fact about me.
I love it. And I'm going to follow that up with what, apart from Blink 182, what
Mm.
other music can you often be found listening to?
Yeah, I'm definitely into that punk rock scene. But also like when I go to the gym, I don't mind a bit of like house or techno music. That rhythm. It's good to exercise too. Um, a lot of children's music lately with my kids in the car.
Yeah,
That's
I know that feeling.
sort of forced upon me. But nah, yeah, normally though that punk rock scene, that's what I'm into. But yeah, some more electronic music if I'm working out.
Love it. And if you could meet any author, living or past, for a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, who would it be?
Oh, it would have to be Robin Hobb. Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. I think just she's in interviews and different podcasts I've seen her on. She sounds like she's super down to earth and
Mm.
um yeah, I'd just love to know how she came up with all her ideas and get all the tips and secrets, how she writes.
So it's always the secrets, right? We got to know.
Yeah, she's quite prolific. What a career she's had.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And Ithra, what music do you write to?
Actually, some believe it or not, Norse music. So try and get my phone. Like Danheim, there's a few bands that sing that sort of they play instrumental. I guess it was like backing vocals, that whole like Norse, Nordic vibes. Uh,
Mm.
that's more when I'm plotting the actual books. When I'm writing actual scenes, I like to write in silence. Otherwise, I find I
Mm.
get a little bit too distracted with noise. But yeah, for music, plotting too, yeah, definitely. That sort of Norse. I've got like a Norse playlist on my Spotify, and I put that on.
Is that on your website somewhere?
No, I should
No.
put it I might put it up on my link tree or one of them.
That would be fantastic. I know some readers love being able to listen to the soundtracks that authors listen to when they're writing, for example.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, the kids' music. We're currently in the Lego phase for the Lego songs.
Lego songs. All right,
So
how old are you?
sorry, the Lego movies. There's actually
Oh,
songs in the Lego movies.
okay. Yeah.
So the second one is like half a musical. So he
Right.
loves those Lego songs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've given Frozen 2 a bit of a run lately. Um, and being Australian, I don't know if do you know the Wiggles?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she used to be the yellow Wiggle, Emma. Now she's
Yeah.
branched off and her own thing. This is a kids podcast now, it's a kids YouTube
Yeah, we're
discussion.
parents, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, my kids actually met Emma on the other day. She was at a local shopping center and she was promoting her own little um thing that she's doing. So yeah, the kids love that. Yeah. Oh, so much kids music. It's yeah. What's it doing?
Yes. Yeah, Tim.
Like, like when I dropped my kids off today to my parents, my daughter, she wanted the same song on. Like, I think it's about 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
by the 11th, I said, Abby, go. It's enough. That's enough.
S so, if
And that
anyone
was
is curious after too, because my son listens to one on repeat, it's "Who's the Batman?" from the Lego Batman movie, a
okay.
and it's just like rock. It's just metal rock music. It's a blend,
Oh,
and he wants it on repeat constantly. And it is actually hilarious if you're, a fan of Batman, they poke some fun at Batman's character. Um,
okay.
one of the lines is like, "Who pays their taxes?" And the response is, "Not Batman."
Well, yeah, clearly not. Bruce Wayne's not paying any taxes.
No. So, yeah, I feel your pain there, and Tim says as well, "Instrumental for inspiration, silence for writing."
Yeah, spot on. I think like some authors you hear like that full blown like songs playing in the background. I would find I do I find it so distracting
Mhm.
and you're trying to find like the right word for a sentence or the right tone for a chapter and yeah, just any sort of noise or extra noise that's already in your head. It's distracting.
I get that in terms of reading. I can't listen to music while reading,
Yeah,
and I've
100%.
tried to get better with it over the years where I'm still not better. I'm trying, but even when someone's walking around, I'm like, "I can't. I can't. I need
Yeah,
silence."
move.
Yeah.
Other
Good. Other end of the house, please.
don't talk to me. I'm reading. Come on.
Exactly. How dare you be breathing while I'm
Mm,
reading?
100%. Oh, that bro, oh god. Um, do you listen to audiobooks?
I do, yes. I
Yeah.
usually will immersion read as well.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't tried it, but it does that work?
I find for me it does. Um, I personally love being lost in a book,
Mm,
and I have run into instances where, for example, The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, I
mhm,
had to restart that book 10% in because I could not follow the audiobook with all the characters and jumping of scenes.
mm,
So I restarted it with the ebook and the audiobook to get a better grasp and comprehension.
okay. Yeah, some books are good, and then the audio really lets them down. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I have experienced well, what really lets it down for me is a mixing of character voices. So let's say character A and character B have their own distinct voices by the voice actor, and then
Mm,
halfway through the book their voices change or they're
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
that's tricky.
for sure. For me, it's it's yeah. No offense to the actual narrator, but just their voice itself, and you're like, oh, it doesn't really lend itself well to the book. Oh
I get
yeah,
I
it's like
get
a
what
real monotone. You're like, aren't you a actor?
I have the unpopular opinion in that regard because, how is it, Michael Kramer, he's a very popular audiobook narrator.
I don't like him.
I same, same.
Right, and it's not an American thing either, but it's a real like he dials up that real Americanism in his voice. It's just
Oh,
too much. And like any Americans out there, I love you, but like that his voice is just it's too much for me.
it's interesting because I found it a bit and I'm basing this off the ones I've listened to,
Mm,
too monotone. So by the time I've listened to the audiobook and the section, I've completely forgotten it by the time I get to the end because it just went in one ear and out the other. I didn't really retain anything. But I know people absolutely love his narrations, and by all means, you love what you love, but
mm. The narrator for the Gentleman Bastards. Have you listened to or read those books?
no, I haven't.
Um, Scott
Lynch?
Lynch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those books, they're amazing books, but the narration of it even makes it better. Yeah, it's a really, for anyone out there, listen to the audiobooks that don't enjoy audiobooks. Yeah, he makes that experience much better. I
Oh,
forget the guy, but yeah, he's a brilliant voice actor. It's really good.
that's amazing. I love to hear it. I would say the same for the Tide Child trilogy by R.J. Barker, because
Okay.
there's some characters in there that are non-human. He pulls
Yeah.
off so well, and Bird-like again does such a good job with the narrations of them.
He writes Bone Ships. Is that right as well?
Yeah, that's the Bone Ships, the
Oh,
Tide Child trilogy. Yeah.
right. Of course. Sorry. How am I going?
No, no, by all means.
Getting I actually really want to get into that series. I
It's
don't know why I keep putting it off.
it's so good. If you love slow burns,
Yep.
especially, very well done. And I think RJ Barker pulls it off really well in the sense of you only get one POV, but you're really seeing the story of two characters.
Okay.
So you get a bit of distance from the other character and you're seeing them through only one other that main character's
Okay.
point of view, but it's done so well.
Yeah. I have to give it a go.
Yeah, you've got a teammate there. Ithra, Gentleman Bastards is
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, I'm still waiting for that book for. Come on, Scott. Where is it?
And so, just to repeat for everyone watching, go check out The Kinslayer by S.K. Putt. Stu here. And thank you so much again for joining me and chatting
Okay.
about your book and all, putting up with my interrogation of questions.
My pleasure. It's a great chat. I loved it. Um, yeah, if anyone out there who wants to read it, yeah. It's, if you're into Viking fantasy or Norse mythology, yeah. It's hopefully it's right down your alley.
I hope, and I'm looking forward to digging in as well. Everyone watching, by all means, check out the links in the description below to go find the Kinslayer yourself, learn more about it, check out Stu's website, links, and social media, all of that jazz. And for everyone watching, as always, thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves.
Cool. So, yeah, stay K. Bye.